Mr. Raymond, what makes a good striptease artist?
Well, the girls are, in a sense, actors, and they must persuade the men that they are enjoying the experience. So it's a performance, and they must be convincing.
And how did your career begin?
Well, I'm an entertainer first and foremost. I started out with a mind-reading act, and I soon realised that people like to look at attractive girls, and they liked it even more if the girls had no clothes on.
Soho was his playground, but was also his prison. He's sort of the living embodiment of someone who stayed at the party too long. Yeah.
What do you think the danger of that is?
Of what, staying at parties too long?
What happens?
Well,
Steve's got a lot of experience.
you end up dancing on your own, which is a bit sad.
You've been called the King of the Keyhole Show.
I like to think of myself as the King of the Glamour shows.
Such a good night to kiss.
The sexual revolution had happened, and you also had this sort of old vanguard of old-fashioned, slightly puritanical Christian sort of censorship people around, and also you had feminism had sort of emerged, so he was a lightning rod for people's strongly held views.
This is an opportunity for us to rewrite the cultural history.
It's not Germany, so we'll just...
Mr. Raymond, would you say your work is degrading to women?
No.
It's strange, given it's about a pornographer, that the kind of danger was like sort of too obviously moral film rather than being too immoral. But you know, I think when you're dealing with a real story, you have to kind of go with the facts. And one thing that's nice about a real story is that you have a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't necessarily fit together as easily as it would have to in a fiction. So you don't have to kind of make everything smooth and obviously kind of straightforward. But in this case, it was part of the tricky balance was like how to not to make you feel like you're bashing people over the head with the idea that if you do, you know, lots of drugs and have lots of sex and have lots of money, then you're going to have to pay it back in some personal way.
Think of me.
Or if it helps, think of me. Look at Paul, but think of me.
What was interesting about him, I think paradoxically, was that he wasn't that interesting. He was. I mean, it was a bit more like the Wizard of Oz, wasn't it? Because like he was just the man behind the curtain. Yeah. I think he was ultimately a bit dull, wasn't he?
My name is Paul Raymond. This is Fiona Richmond. Fiona Richmond is starring in the West End farce Let's Get Laid, starting this Thursday night. If you enjoy, as I do, looking at nude ladies, please do come along.
He created a kind of his own brand in a way. Paul Raymond was a sort of identity of like, you know, you were buying, you know, whether it's a review bar or Manila, you were kind of buying it into a bit of his kind of world. He was very into sort of PR and selling himself as a kind of as a brand, and I think, you know, so we tried to make that part of the film really, that, you know, like, you know, even his name, he sort of picked, you know, his name is not his real name, and that he kind of constructed this identity for himself, but maybe in a way that, you know, that construct became who he was, you know, that there isn't the real person behind that, he is just that construct.
And also you look at even the sort of the way the review bar was, it's also red velvet on the walls and mirrors everywhere and shiny bright baubles and it ostensibly is quite sexy, but beneath it is sort of a slight, you know, it's eventually sort of the red velvet peels off the walls and it's just a sort of a slightly dank, run-down Soho building.